is homeless because anyone at any given moment, for a number of reasons, can lose their shelter.
Yeah, right.
And are they actually homeless, or what are they right then and there?
They
Because they were
unsheltered.
paying, or
Right,
they were
right.
in an environment, and they may have only been 1 month behind in that situation, because a lot of people were in different situations. So the guy I was squatting with, and he was current.
Yeah.
The government was paying his, so they paid his first month rent. He moved in 30 days. I had another group of friends roll the whole 90 days out. They wasn't sure where the heck they was going. They didn't know. They just gonna ride the 90 days out. We'll figure it out. So that's what I mean by, okay, we have to deal with shelter.
So who do you want to target, maybe just first, and like educate? Is it the decision makers at the top, the people who want to do something, they want to donate, they want to volunteer, or the people who are unsheltered or sheltered homeless?
I think you start at the bottom. It's always at the grassroots levels. The problem with going to the top is like going to the city council to say, hey, we got a problem, we need to solve it, I have a solution. But they're going to have to litigate and debate and go through all sorts of hula hoops and everything to even say, we agree.
And they don't understand. If they don't take the time to actually educate themselves, they don't understand the need. They think they want, let's just say if they support it, it's more like a Band-Aid. It's like, it's not getting to the root, like you were saying before. It's like, let's just fix this now, but you need to prevent, like you said. So it's like educating even parents on how to, create more stability in an unstable environment for their children so that they can progress more easily in school, because a lot of times, like you were saying before, like they move around and it's hard for them to maintain, focus in school, especially if they don't know if they're hungry, they don't know where they're going to eat. You go to show up in class and you're tired and you're hungry because you weren't able to sleep last night because you don't have a bed, or you
In a
have no
crime
food.
infested neighborhood, and all this craziness going around, and you have to walk through that just to get to the bus stop.
Right.
And the other reason why I'll say you don't start up top is because they're just going to litigate it, and our lawmakers' responsibility is just to put it into law. They're not actually the ones that's going to implement it. They're going to empower society to say, okay, we see this is an issue, we recognize it's a problem, we've written this into law. This is what we feel is legally correct. Their job is basically finished. Okay, so who's going to implement this? Who's holding who accountable for it? Who is actually going to educate? And wait a minute, who are they writing the law for? It's actually for the people. So you start with the education of the people. And I feel like we probably more than likely need to get in some of these schools, these underachieving schools, and start educating on housing, how that works. It may even need to be a class taught on housing, affordable housing, how that relates to your education, how the prison system is connected to how well you're educated, how unemployment is related to how well you're educated. Your knowledge, your ability to earn is going to be based on how well you educate yourself with the information to function in the society, to earn at a certain level that you can function as a single individual or even within a family structure. So it's almost wiser to start, as Frederick Douglass says, it's easier to raise a nation of children than to repair broken men. Well, if I'm going to a facility and it's a lot of gentlemen my age, 50 years old, we're already set in our ways. You can give us education, but we have to choose a whole new path, and we have a whole lot of baggage versus you go to the middle school, the elementaries, the high schools, and you get there and say, look, this is what you're facing at 18 years of age.
Right.
This is the options that are now being presented to you. If you do not educate yourself and prepare yourself to get decent paying employment, society has already determined $25,000 and under, you're poor.
Right.
You're very poor. You're not just poor, You're the bottom of the barrel poor at $25,000 a year. And you think you're doing okay with that money, but that's not enough to sustain yourself by yourself unless you're in a housing condition with assistance. So that's where I see we're facing. That's my thought on what is the best way to deal with our sheltered and unsheltered situation and affordable housing. We need to go into the schools, and definitely the schools that are struggling the most with education, and we need to find a way to educate them, because the affluent school, it's already established that you're in an affluent school, the society's already set, you're already set educational wise to be accepted.
And they also tend to have, like, they already have built-in role models. If those parents are already, you know, sustainably employed and, you know, making a certain, you know, above a certain salary level, that's going to be, you know, relate to their children that this is important. Whereas if you have, you know, it's like if you have parents who have come through that same environment and they don't know, like, they need to help be educated too. I mean, you know, like educating young mothers, or you know, or you know, not just mothers, but like the whole family, but that what little things they can do to help provide a sense of stability to keep their kids in school and to help you know, help them want to continue to succeed and not be I mean, I think that, like, you know, when you're in high school and you're like, oh yeah, $25,000 a year, oh man, that's a lot of money. Why am I staying in school? I could be, you know, working there and like, no, like, they need to understand, well, how much is left once you know, say this is what you get if you can pay, you know, this much in rent, and this is, you know, and then the taxes and the Social Security, all this stuff. This is what you actually get to take home, and then, and you know, you haven't even paid for food yet, and then, so to, like, they need to have, like, education on, like, real life finances.
And if you had some sort of health issue come up,
right,
Yeah.
right, which is how, you know,
Don't get sick and need insurance or something.
Exactly, right. So I think that's also, it needs to be, like, really, like you said, like, laid out, like, okay, this is the type of job you qualify for if you leave school now, or if you only get your high school diploma, or you get a GED. Whereas if you stick with it, then this is the other path that you can take. But you need mentors from those other paths to come in and say, this is what you need to do. Like, not, you know, they can't just look at a video or something.
Right,
They have to have a real understanding.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, I think our society is the teacher, but the problem with that is, you know, that's a hard lesson to learn when your education is your environment. And I feel like, you know, as a person, what's going to change this, it starts now with grassroots movements, individuals like us sitting here talking, well, how can we make a difference? What can we do to make a difference? And then actually finding a way to come with some tangible something to give to the society, or to go to lawmakers and say, here, this is what we feel. It's not even about passing a law. It's not even about being it. It's, you know, how are we going to really solve and resolve the sheltering issues and the disparities and the differences in wage earnings? That's where I see we're at. And hopefully we can do something about it. Thanks, Kim. We had a surprise visitor, my friends. This is my friend, Kim. I'm Elia. What's your definition of homelessness?